Yes, my people, fly on the wall perspective. My name is Joseph.
What's going on? It's B Yaks
And today we have a special guest with us. We got my main man over here, Dennis. Dennis, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here today.
So Dennis is in a very special line of work that we definitely wanted to bring to you. That some very interesting things going on. And so we're going to have a little discussion today. You want to go into a little bit of background on Dennis? Let's get to know.
Yeah, so obviously you work with young people and you've been working with young people for a long time. So would you like to tell us more about that?
Yeah, sure. So specifically, I'm a social worker and I work with young people within youth justice. So essentially young people that are committed offences, they go to court, are convicted, and I'll end up working with them.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. So what age group are you working with?
So the age group is 10 to 18. So essentially the age of criminal responsibility in the UK is 10.
Yeah.
So essentially 10 and then 18 are like a young people.
Yeah.
And that's it, yeah.
Okay. So what inspired you to get into it?
I've always wanted to work with challenging young people
Yeah.
since I was about 21.
Okay.
Came out of uni, did a psychology course, and I just found myself just enjoying working with young people that were just difficult, troublemakers.
Yeah.
Like one of my first jobs was working within a pupil referral unit.
Okay.
For those that don't know, it's basically you get thrown out of secondary school.
AKA unit.
Yeah, unit.
Yeah.
And even
This
though
is all just going. Like I never went to school here, so it's all good.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Unit, yeah.
When you get kicked out of secondary school.
Yeah, so instantly from the time you get kicked out of secondary school, they'll put you in a
into
support program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would do it.
So at school, all the bad breeds.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, all the bad boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what age were you doing that?
From about 22.
So you were like not that much older than the people that you were dealing with at that time, or the kids you were dealing with at that time.
You're right, and that's why it was hard because a lot of the young people, they're not going to respect you like a teacher, and I wasn't doing it as a teacher. I was kind of like a support assistant.
Okay, yeah.
So you're doing a job, and you're having fun, but you're meant to be some kind of authority, and sometimes the kids they're not respecting you.
Yeah.
So, but there was something about it. Working with that client group that I enjoyed, but I knew from early I did not want to be a teacher because that's normally the natural progression.
Yeah.
You start off as a teaching assistant and then you do whatever qualifications you need to do to be a teacher and then you become a teacher. And I was like, there's no way I want to be standing in front of 8 unruly young people being disrespected and then they don't want to learn.
Yeah.
I preferred the whole. I learnt about youth justice and working with young people who are at risk of getting into trouble. Yeah, and I identified quite early this is what I want to do.
Yeah,
I just went after that basically.
What element of it was it for you that really like made you want to go into that? Because as you said, it was kind of difficult for you at that age dealing with these youths, and then you also saw kind of the natural progression was to go into a teacher.
Yeah,
and then that element of it didn't really appeal to you. So what element did appeal to you at that age where you thought, all right, I'm gonna go ahead with this?
Knowing that I could possibly make a difference 1-to-1. Yeah. Because I think the school environment is so different to working someone, building up a relationship and working with them 1-on-1. Yeah. And essentially that's what I'm doing now. You work 1-on-1. You obviously liaising with different people to try and help that young person. Yeah. But most of the time you're gonna get a better outcome working with someone 1-on-1 and building that relationship again, rather than in a typical teaching environment where it's 1-on-30. In the UK it might be 1-on-30, 1-32. So I always wanted to do that and work with challenging young people, and knowing that I could make a difference. I was never interested in working with normal young people. I don't know why. Yeah. I think I like a challenge.
What about a mentor? Did that ever cross your mind, being a mentor in secondary school? Because when I think about secondary school and the mentors, and they reminded me of people like yourself and people that you always respected, and they just had a natural sort of chemistry with all the troubled kids, if you like. So yeah, so obviously that's my question to you. Like, did that ever cross your mind, being a mentor in school at all?
It did. It must have, but it probably didn't pay enough money. And
I got you wrong. I got you wrong. I'm off.
I have to be real, man.
No, come
on. The job, doing social work it's not charity work. You know, it's a helping profession, and dare I say, maybe it's slightly altruistic, but you got bills to pay, man. Do you know what I mean?
No, of course,
and it was the best job I could do that would utilise my skills, that I would enjoy, that would allow me to have the best lifestyle that I could have.
Yeah.
So that was the route, basically.
Right. So you finished university. What's next?
I did a master's in social work.
Yeah.
Because I identified that having that qualification would open up more doors for me.
No, most definitely.
And again, it would actually allow me to earn more money.
Yeah, of course.
You can work within youth justice without being a qualified social worker, but I kind of knew, hey, you know what, for some reason this title means a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go after that, do what I know I'm good at doing, and I went for it, got a master's in social work. So it's a nice title, it looks good, doesn't really mean anything because you can't teach that one-to-one, building up that rapport with people.
No, of course.
It's the young people you work with,
Yeah, you see if you got it or you haven't.
Yeah, they don't give a shit what letters you got on the front of your name. They really don't. It's about experience, and that paper is just for other professionals I'm working with. It's not really got anything to do with the young people I work with.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, if I'm being honest, that's the reason why I did it.
Yeah. And what's the first organisation you worked for?
So I've worked for youth offending teams, or within youth offending teams, for about 10 years.
Yeah.
So the first
So
half...
how does it work then? Can you give us more insight on that?
So youth offending teams have been around the inception since 1998 in the UK, and essentially they were kind of like brought in by the Labour government at the time to reduce crime and reduce youth crime and to prevent reoffending, because they realised that the reoffending rates for young people were quite high, and it was kind of meant to the welfare of the child was paramount.
Okay.
So it was meant to consider the welfare of the child, but as well as doing the justice bit. And you'll have like different disciplines, different people working in a youth offending team, so they call it multidisciplinary. So you'll have police officers, you'll have education workers, you'll have social workers, you'll have a probation officer to make that transition from the ones that are like 16, 17 going on to adulthood. Yeah. So you'll have different disciplines, and they all meant to work together to try and help out a young person basically not reoffend.
Yeah, because at first I thought you was a probation officer, and then obviously when you started, breaking it down more, telling me what your job actually entails, and I was like, okay, there's a difference. There's obviously a crossover there between what you do and the probation officer, but obviously it's also different in a lot of ways as well. So yeah, it's easy to get them mixed up like I did. Do you know what I mean? So could you explain like the difference between a social worker and a probation officer? Because like I said, they're very similar, aren't they?
Well, you can be a social worker and work with different client groups. So you can be qualified social worker and work with children, and families. You can work with adults with disabilities.
Yeah.
You can work in hospitals. You can work in a school.
Yeah.
Essentially, anyone who's considered vulnerable in society, you can be a social worker and work at that client group. Obviously, probation officers specifically work with adults on court orders, either in the community or sometimes in custody.
Yeah, yeah.
And
which can be 18-year-olds as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, but that's the highest, obviously. You go in your line of work, innit? And depending on your date of birth, then see a lot will determine on that, won't it? Yeah.
And
18-year-old.
You can be a social worker and work with children in the criminal justice system, so which is 10 to 18 years old essentially.
Yeah.
And it's really 10 to 17, but sometimes you'll work with young people on court orders where it bleeds into the 18th birthday and past that, and you'll just keep them because there's no point in moving them on to probation.
Okay.
So as far as your day-to-day and with your particular role of social work, what does that look like for you? Do you have a set, so you mentioned that, so when kids go from 17 into 18, you still keep those, so do you work one-to-one with them specifically?
I will do. So for people that are trying to get a grasp of kind of what I do, if you've been involved in the criminal justice system as an adult, the easiest way I could describe would be a probation officer, but working with people that are under 18. There's a lot of crossovers, so young people would have to report to us a certain amount of times per month, per week. I think that's understandable for people who have been in the criminal justice system or know people that have been in the